You are watching Channel Adrian TV.
Yo, YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, where you're watching this, welcome back to another video. Now we can finally get back into a little bit of different videos because I'm finally caught up on the NFL Top 100. But I'm still going to do videos on that, so subscribe to the channel if you're interested in this football season. But this deals with my Warriors series about a content creator who's actually made storylines between each gang. And like I said, at the end of this, I'm going to do a full movie reaction with the Warriors with y'all. But before I even get to the movie, I thought we watch these videos, react to them about each gang in the movie, and then watch the movie together. And this one deals with the punks. If you remember that scene when you see the guy going down the subway in his roller skates, which I would say is a memorable scene for a majority of people because it did hit pop culture to where a lot of people have used that scene in a lot of videos. But let's get into the reaction. Dun, dun, dun. And like I said, shout out to the creators doing this. The fact that so many Warrior fans are still around today since this came out in the 70s. All around cult classic movie and one of my favorite movies.
They never spoke. They never shouted. They just showed up and threw down. You know them from the bathroom brawl that shook the tunnels of New York. But what if I told you that wasn't even their scariest move?
And the crazy thing about that is when I was young, especially during the Platinum Fubu era days, I was rocking overalls. I think a lot of people were. The baggy overalls, the camo overalls, seeing those overalls, it reminds me of that.
This is the untold story of the quietest gang in the Warriors universe. These are the punks. They never spoke. They barely blinked. And when they moved, it was in eerie, synchronized waves, like dancers from some forgotten underground ritual. But in a city overrun by warriors, furies, rogues, and rollers, they were something else entirely. Who were the punks, and what made them so damn terrifying? In the shadow of the collapsing Coney Island amusement empire, in abandoned roller rinks near Brighton Beach, a strange subculture was born. A fusion of skaters, street kids, and failed theater students. Some were orphans, some were misfits thrown out of the more flamboyant gangs like the Savage Huns and the Electric Eliminators. They found each other underground.
See, that's why I think it's so dope. You see how he tied in the Savage Huns and the Electric Eliminators, and the storytelling behind these is super dope. And I know Universal, or I think it's Paramount Studios, excuse me, whoever done the original Warriors, I hope they see this and understand they're still fans still to this day. And like I said, I'm part of the younger generation. I wasn't around when this movie first came out in the 70s. So I think they should do a reboot or do another movie like this. I think a lot of Warrior fans will come out and support this.
1974.
Dang, 74.
The original core of the punks formed from a gang called the Quiet Jacks, an experimental troupe of break-in artists and silent movement performers who started by pulling subway hustles. 1975. Their methods began shifting. Less performance,
Quiet hit hard.
more beatdowns. Less costume, more code. They adopted strict silence during operations to disorient and disturb. This evolved into a vow of muteness, which wasn't spiritual, but strategic. The punks was originally an insult shouted by a rival gang, but instead of rejecting it, they embraced it. Ironic, self-deprecating, and intimidating all at once. The logic? If you call us punks, fine. We'll show you what punks really do. The look, overalls were chosen not for fashion, but utility.
And I ain't gonna lie, y'all know me being a sneakerhead. That overalls with the black and yellow with the New Love Jordan 1s, that fit would be kind of tough. I ain't gonna lie. And I know some of y'all may say, well, the overall's not black. You don't need to always be so matchy all the time. And honestly, too matchy can mess you up. And I know I'm going off a tangent, but it's just looking at this and this picture in general. I don't know, it gives me like that fashion punk grudge type era. You know, the Papa Roach, Panic at the Disco emo type of era, except for these are obviously different than emo.
Easy to move in, easy to recognize each other and hard to trace. Symbolically, they stripped individuality. Each punk was a piece of a larger, voiceless machine. Striped undershirts represented unity under restraint, possibly a nod to chain gang uniforms. Some believe it was an inside joke. We're prisoners of silence. No jewelry, no gang colors, no names, only one member, Blade, wore roller skates. Why? 3 theories. Scout or first strike. He could move fast, circle, and disorient the enemy. Symbol of dominance.
Now, y'all, I ain't gonna lie. I don't think no one's gonna ever beat me up in skates. Rollerblades, maybe, because you might be a little bit faster. But regular rolling skates like that, no one's not beating me up. And I don't think you beating anybody up in skates. And if you do beat somebody up in skates, they shouldn't be fighting anyway.
In a gang where no one spoke, the one who skated was watched the most. Trauma link. Rumors say Blade was hit by a cop car as a teen and vowed never to walk again unless it was over a body.
And that's the one who was skating in the movie.
Confirmed if Blade was the leader or just the Blade. By the time the Warriors reached the lower platform at 96th Street, they were worn down, mentally and physically. Word on the street is the punks had been tracking them for hours.
Yeah, and this is the memorable scene that a lot of people remember about the Warriors.
This wasn't a random encounter. This was an ambush. Premeditated, cold, silent.
Other than the Warriors come out to play, this one with the guy roller skating, just following them down in the subway.
The station, but unlike some of the other gangs, the punks didn't come unarmed. They just didn't carry guns. Instead, they carried switchblades hidden in boot sheaths, rusty chains looped through belt straps, a few pipe stubs and lockpicks. Their weaponry was grimy, brutal, and personal, built for close combat, not distance. When the brawl erupted in the narrow, echoing bathroom, it was an explosion.
Oh, that's a hard photo right there. That's a dope photo.
Tiles shattered, faucets cracked, no music, no talking, just the sound of violence, tactics. The punks fought with coordinated precision, almost like they'd rehearsed every move.
And it's crazy if you go back and watch that scene, and then like I said, we're definitely gonna react to that when I watch the movie with y'all. That scene isn't the best stunts at all. But since it's the 70s and, you know, the cinematography during that era, it was, let's just say, revolutionary for its time, or action-packed for its time, if you will. But when I recently saw the movie, I can't remember, I think I last watched the movie like 3 weeks ago. Again, watching that fight scene, it a little bit comical.
Moved in sync, gang kata style, disorienting the Warriors with unpredictable rhythm. But the Warriors had something the punks didn't: rage and improvisation. While the punks struck with mechanical discipline, the Warriors
he gave him a spine buster.
And survival energy.
See, y'all see.
Swan and Cochise turned the tide, using the room's architecture, doors, sinks, and shattered tiles, as weapons of opportunity. Even with chains swinging and blades flashing, the punks couldn't seal the deal.
Oh.
After their defeat, the punks faded back into the tunnels. Some joined minor cliques. Others were arrested. Blade was never seen again. Urban legend says he still skates under the city, watching. There were
Dang, so Blade got beat up and dipped. And one thing I meant to say is like about New York and about this movie that is so true. Once you're in that subway, in the subway around 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning, I've been in New York and been in those subways late at night. It is eerie, especially when it's quiet, and you do have to keep your head on a swivel, because there's some crazy folks out in New York City if you haven't been there, especially late at night.
That the punks were trying to emulate the baseball Furies with their theatrical silence, but lacked the flair, and they ended up a half-painted echo. But some believe they meant to fail. Their silence wasn't imitation. It was rebellion, a whisper in a world screaming for attention. Defeated, forgotten, Buried beneath the city, or are they? Whether Blade was a scout, a soldier, or a ghost, one thing's for sure: silence doesn't mean weakness. It means you're listening. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Was Blade truly the leader? Were the punks misunderstood? Or were they doomed from the start? Hit that like button if the bathroom fight is still one of the greatest in cinema history. And if you're ready for episode 7, subscribe to stay with us as we uncover the next lost chapter in The Warriors' origins. Until next time.
And see, that would be dope to go back in the 70s. When did this come out? Because I could guarantee you in the movie theater when this movie dropped, in that bathroom scene, people were cheering and clapping and screaming because they thought it was so impactful and so insightful. Yeah, and that's it for the punks. And remember, y'all, I'm going to do a full movie review with y'all after we get done through each gang. Once again, shout out to the content creator doing this, because Warrior fans like myself, being one of my favorite movies, because I have a few, but this is in there, it's dope to see more stuff to the Warriors, because I know me and other fans of the Warriors will wish they would do a reboot, another movie, or something along those lines. And if you want sports reviews, sneaker reviews, morning motivation, after workout thoughts, reaction videos to movies, police body cams, anything you could think of, subscribe to Channel Adrian TV.